Alright guys, we're here to have a discussion about the moments that Zoro might have surpassed Monkey D. Luffy.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Now, I know that sentence I just uttered might be one of the craziest sentences you guys ever heard in your entire life, but let's have a discussion. Don't worry, it's not gonna be like a crazy Zoro-tard video, a bunch of Zoro meat writing, none of that shit. I don't do that over here, but I am a Zoro fan and I do push agenda, but it's not that agenda, so just chill. And let's talk about the elephant in the room real quick. I do sound like I have a golf ball down my throat. I am sick, bear with me. Please be grateful for having the luxury to breathe out of both nostrils, because clearly I don't, and you guys can definitely hear that. So what really sparked this video idea in my head was the statement that a lot of Zoro fans like to tell the Sanji fans. They like to tell them, yo, Zoro is closer to Luffy than he is to Sanji. And when I first heard that, I'm like, yo bro, what the fuck are you talking about? Yo, what do you, like, what is, yo bro, like, what does that even mean? Like, okay. But then from the feeds we recently got the most latest arc, Luffy shits on Zoro. So like, where the fuck does this even go? But then I wondered to myself, yo, are these guys really crazy? There might have been moments where Zoro might have actually been stronger than Luffy. Hear me out. But first, before I talk about it, let's ask Knuckles what he thinks. Alright Knuckles, first we gotta ask him some warm-up questions to see how really credible this man is. So Knuckles, Zoro is stronger than Kid, right?
Approved.
Alright, that's what I like to hear, because to be honest, Knuckles, you might not know this, but that might even be a mid-diff.
I don't know.
Garbage Man versus Zoro? yeah, let's move on. Knuckles, Zoro is stronger than Law, right?
I don't know.
Brother, what do you mean I don't know? Law, don't get it twisted. You must have not seen chapter 1081 where that brother got exposed. Blackbeard dealt with him. Don't let all that Kroom stuff you was doing earlier to Blackbeard fool you. Zoro's been doing this shit to Yonkos. Like, before bro got power-ups, he was scarring Yonkos. Come on, Knuckles, let me ask you again.
Excellent argument. Approved.
Alright, Knuckles. This is gonna be the most important one. Zoro stronger than Luffy, right?
It's now illegal. Look at you. You who were once so proud. Go now and never return.
Let's go back to pre-time skip and look at moments where it could have looked like Zoro was stronger than Luffy. Let's go back to Bark Works or Whiskey Peak arc, where Zoro and Luffy fought to a standstill. It was a pretty equal fight, but these guys weren't in their right state of mind. And many people like to see this as Luffy being portrayed equal to Zoro in this scenario. And there's a whole thing of Luffy being weak to blades, which I never really understood that much, because technically isn't everybody weak to blades, but it is what it is. But people are saying Zoro would have the advantage in that aspect. And some people also don't look at it too serious, because Nami came back and punched the hell out of both of them, and it was just supposed to be like a gag scene. We cut to Thriller Bark, where Zoro was fighting Ryuma, Oars, but more specifically towards the end, when he was fighting Kuma in order to save Luffy. Luffy's prior battle with Moria, all the pain and damage and fatigue he accumulated had this boy passed out in a slumber. Kuma then goes to extract all that pain and fatigue from Luffy so that Zoro could take his place. But before that, Zoro was stated to be on the verge of death, and he was already in a terrible condition, and on top of that he was fighting Kuma prior. And like I said, nothing happened, while once again Luffy was in a deep slumber, with dealing with less damage than Zoro did. There also is many instances in One Piece where people are confusing Zoro for the captain. That also could be viewed as a portrayal thing. Zoro hasn't been tested throughout the entirety of post timeskip until we got to Wano. Luffy has been tested by Doflamingo, he's been tested by Cracker, he's been tested by Katakuri, and Zoro mainly only fought Pika until Wano, where he got his new power-up. Now there's this whole debate whether Enma makes Zoro stronger or not, so I'm not gonna really go into that, but we know the primary thing for Enma is to help him train his haki and allows him to use more of his haki. Obviously Zoro with the sword, it makes him stronger than he was prior. And that's not because the sword is giving him magical powers or some shit like some people like to say. It's making him stronger due to his own sheer will. Now the question of, is Zoro being stronger than Luffy the entirety of post time skip a real thing? Because if it isn't, then we would have to be dissecting how strong Enma really made Zoro. And looking at what Enma really does, it's not like it's giving Zoro powers. It's not like it's giving Zoro an awakening. Not like it's giving Zoro haki, it's helping him utilize his own strength, which indeed made him stronger, but by how much? It's safe to say that Zoro on the rooftop would shit on post-time skip Luffy, the one that came straight out the time skip. How much of a difference does it make to the point where Zoro doesn't win? I mean, if you look at it from that aspect, he could low-key be stronger than Luffy till Luffy got advanced Conqueror's haki. Because when Luffy got Rio, advanced Ardaman haki, and he got Future Sight, and Zoro got Enma, and they both fought against Kaido and Big Mom on the rooftop, there's an argument that I would make that Zoro was stronger than Luffy at that given moment. Luffy's attacks were too shallow alongside the Scabbards, who were mentioned that their attacks were too shallow as well from Kaido, hence meaning he wasn't really doing any real damage to Kaido, while Zoro was able to scar Kaido. While Zoro was able to slice Kaido and save Luffy, while countering Kaido's tornadoes with his own tornadoes, while stopping the Hakai attack for a brief moment to save Luffy and the rest of the supernova. To me, he was the strongest on that rooftop. But then obviously Luffy unlocked Advanced Conqueror's haki and went to go fight Kaido, and then he unlocked Gear 5, and Zoro unlocked Advanced Conqueror's haki as well. But the thing is, Luffy in his base form with Advanced Conqueror's haki still eclipses Zoro in feats, which make it hard to even mention Gear 5 Luffy and Zoro in the same sentence. So as it stands right now, that conversation isn't a conversation, but in the future I definitely think it's possible, and it depends on where you have Mihawk, because I think Mihawk is on Roger's level, and I think what Zoro surpasses Mihawk, he surpasses Roger as well. I think the gap between him and Luffy isn't going to be tremendously big. To me, I think there could be a moment in time where it's possible, and we do figure out in the future, like we did in Wano, where Zoro was actually stronger than Luffy the entire time before he got his power up. Similar to when Luffy, before he got Advanced Conqueror's haki, Zoro looked like he was stronger. Before Zoro got Enma, he looked like he could have been stronger than Luffy before Wano. But yeah guys, that's pretty much it. I hope to hear what you guys got to say in the comment section down below. Try not to be too toxic. But yeah, I'm coughing up a storm. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.